Yeah. Hey, welcome to video number 250 of Walker This Way with Hazel Walker, the queen of all things.
Oh, I was counting up. Sorry. Business, networking,
1,
and BNI.
2, 3,
No,
249.
no, well, I was going, well, 50, that's how many years? 50, 50, 50.
5
5 years.
years.
5 years.
Yeah, it's a little over. I am Mark Simmons, but yeah, I keep getting the reminders of this was 5 years ago and our early day videos.
Early days, yeah, it was.
I was just noticing, when we do some Instagram filming, we use a filter called No Filter, Just Glow. That's the filter on it. And right now, I'm not using a filter, but I got the glow because the sunshine is on me. Different
Like,
from when I normally
your
film.
hand looks golden when you raise it up.
The golden hands.
The golden hand
Right?
on this side. Yeah, see the gold comes out on the
Yeah.
hand.
So, Hazel, a few years back, I was at a local chapter. It was a fairly big chapter. And I timed, and our chapters were clapping in between weekly presentations for everybody. I timed just clapping on my phone. I timed it start, stop. And in the end, it was 7.5 minutes total of just clapping. Think about that. But the meeting, first of all, the members had less time to speak because they want to finish on time. The meeting still didn't end on time in the 90-minute timeline, and it went on and on and on. And they're like, it's in a culture of our chapter, we can't change it. Go, well, you could, but they wouldn't. But there's so many places in a meeting where we know there's the agenda, it's a set amount of time, but they go over time. And the poor president is like, well, my gosh, I only have an X amount. And then when the meeting goes past the end time, I see members walk out.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they have the right to do that.
Right.
Because what we promise is a timely meeting. And if we say the chapter meeting is over at 8:30 so they can open their offices at 9, that's what we mean. If a chiropractor or one of the and you got an appointment at 9, you got to leave on time, right? And so they're not obligated to stay past that time, whatever the published, just as they have to be in the chapter meeting on time, we are also obligated to end on time.
Right.
Because they're not obligated to stay beyond that. We have 90 minutes. And in most of the Vancouver chapters, it's more than 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Because they come at 6:45 for a 7 o'clock start, right?
Right.
And so they're even more time there. So timeliness of the agenda is important. But there's a lot of things I see that really, really screw up the time for the president. Well, first, it's because the president doesn't make it stop, right? When I was president of my chapter and things were going off track, I would stand and I would say, in order to honor everybody's time and make sure everybody gets out on time, we need to cut this short or we need to stop. And I would just keep bringing it back, right?
Yeah.
And the more I would do that, the more timely we became over time. Like it just bad habits stopped.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of presidents don't. They don't. They just let it go because they don't want to be rude. But it's also rude to those people that we promised we'd be done on time. Mm-hmm. And you can see the room get antsy when it's starting to run late.
Right. You can feel it.
Feel it. Everybody's getting a little antsy. They're ready to go. It's like it should be done. And it's not. So timeliness is the president's job. That is the number one job of the president, is manage the room and the agenda. Mm-hmm. The room and the agenda. So if people are disrupting, your job as the president is to bring them back to the agenda, right? And the timing. The other part is I don't see a lot of chapters actually having really good timing systems, like the red, yellow cards Toastmasters had, or on their screen, the little button that shows the time. Yeah. I've got all in-person chapters here. I'm not hearing timely holding people.
Used to just be a bell. Every chapter had a bell. Ding.
Yeah. And BNI does have an app for that.
Yeah.
Like there's a timer on there for all things. So that's not happening. But where time gets sucked up is the I have portion of the meeting.
Yeah.
Like it just, even if you're running everything else smoothly, that's where it can get killed. Because, and I've been in 3 meetings this week where the chapters went overtime. 3. One was a small group, because small groups, they fill time. They just fill time. They're not paying attention because we're small. We got plenty of time. And they think they have plenty of time when really they still have the same 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Then the medium-sized groups that are just, they don't have a president that's managing it. And it happens like this. The feature presenter did a great presentation. And I was in one that was just amazing. It was funny and it was clear and it was, I know who he wants. It was really good. And 2 of them were like that. Really fantastic. But every single person in the room gave long testimonials about their presentation and how they've done business with them and how long they've known them and playing golf with them and how they treat people and taking care of my mother's, like just these long drawn out testimonials for the feature presenter. Oh, and I had 3 referrals and 2 visitors. Like that was at the very end. But most of the whole I have portion was these long testimonials about the speakers. And really, they don't need, and they did it to me when I was the speaker. They would, oh, that was amazing. That was great knowing you. I've been into B&I this long, blah, blah, blah. And after a while, I'm just like, I'm looking down, like I'm just overwhelmed by all the, can we move forward? Right? So, but you know what never happens during the I have portion?
What? Ding.
Timing. There's no timing.
Yeah.
No one runs a timer for the I have. Really, during the I have portion, there should be a timer for that. It should be one succinct testimonial for someone you've done business with. If that was the speaker, but you should also be willing to put it in writing and put it on their LinkedIn and social media pages.
Yeah.
Put it there. That's more valuable than all the words going on in the room. And when a visitor's sitting there and the visitor's looking at their watch and like, oh my gosh, they think they should be able to go. And they are able to go. And so then the president needs to go, okay, and I've heard this, we're running late today because we had a unique kind of meeting. For the visitors here, if you need to leave because we promised we would be done in 90 minutes, you are welcome to go.
Yeah.
And members, if you need to go, you are welcome to go. Otherwise, they feel committed to be there. And we're breaking our promise. So you're losing credibility when you let your meetings run that long.
Yeah. I mean, really, the I have portion is 10 seconds a member. It's information. I've heard a lot of stories when people say, I have a referral for Hazel. Here's how I got it. I was walking down the street and one day and this happened. It's a whole long-winded story.
I get that. It doesn't need to be a long-winded story, but it is important for me to tell people how I got the referral for you.
For sure. Without the long-winded story.
Yeah, I met this person and I asked the questions he taught me and I was able to generate the referral and I did it. Like that's important, but it doesn't have to be that long. And it's really not 10 seconds. It should be no more than 60 seconds, just like it is or 45. It should be equal to whatever you're doing at the beginning. And if that's 45 seconds, that's what you got it back into. But it doesn't.
You got to watch chapter, watch size, watch everything, keep it efficient.
You got to be efficient with your time and not clapping takes up time.
Yes.
Disruption, some people will disrupt the agenda to ask a question. I stand up and say a good referral for me is I'm looking for people to help me launch new chapters. So what does that mean? Launch new chapters? How long would we work with you? Like they're disrupting the entire floor.
Yeah. I know when we do the leadership team orientation and we talk to the presidents, we educate them on the fact that their commodity is time. That's all they have. And they got to control it. They're the conductor of the said orchestra, right? They have to control the time. That's all they got. We had a chapter here years ago where one of the members right at 8:30, he would go time, time, no matter who was talking, what was happening, time. They ended up having to let her go, obviously, because she won't stop doing that. But it's a real conscious thing in the members, and the poor president has to keep that time.
Yeah, and you want to do it in such a way to honor everyone's time, right?
Yeah.
It's about honoring the time and respecting everyone's time in the room. So run a professional, well-timed meeting is much more appreciated. But we don't want you to stop having fun.
Absolutely not.
Right? We don't want to run like such a strict thing that people can't have fun and tell a little story or something like that. You just got to find that.
Yeah.
I am going to go visit a chapter that has 153 members because I want to see how they manage time.
Right. I sat in a meeting before where the education coordinator they're like 3 to 5 minutes max, and they're 15 minutes into their education moment. And me and one of the other consultants sat in a meeting where the feature presenter was 25 minutes into their presentation. Now, this is the president's fault, I guess, for not stepping in and going, all right,
time. But there was no timer. There was no timer. I had a president that ran a 30-minute feature presentation, and like 10 calls from the chapter. I'm angry about it. And what I said was, well, what did you do about it? Why didn't you make it stop? Well, he was the president. Yeah, but why didn't you make it stop? Because he's also a member.
Yeah.
You're still responsible for making it. That's the importance of the timer. That's the importance of having a good timer.
And really. So this was our long-winded way on Walk of This Way of saying, and this is your quote, Hazel, minding the timing, mind the time.
Mind the time.
Every member, leadership team or not, has a duty and a responsibility to mind the time and be really conscious of it, out of respect for each other's time.
That's the word I was going to use. Just respect everybody's time.
Yeah. All right. And right now, Hazel and I want to respect your time, since you're probably still listening to this video for sure. 10 minutes into it. So we respect your time. Thank you for listening. Until next time, Hazel.
See you then.
Bye.